Rent goes to his friend's house, whose name is Lauren. Lauren knew that it was Rent, but she tells him to let her sleep, but still Rent wakes her up, and when she sees Rent, she is shocked to see his condition and asks him what happened to him. Rent tells her everything, but she does not understand what Rent says, and she says that I have studied science and magic, but I have no such case in front of me. A story in which someone got eaten by a dragon and became undead, and is that dragon still there? Rent tells her that he doesn't think that dragon is still there, but even after all this Lauren doesn't believe what Rent says. Rent says that everyone gets scared after seeing me, but this is very calm. Lauren is neither a table nor an adventurer. Right now, in her eyes, I am less of a friend and more of a test subject. Lauren tells Rent, I know this question is a bit rude. But are you really Rent, Fina? Rent also begins to think deeply about the fact that he has Rent's memories, but now that he is dead, is he really Rent, Fina? He tells Lauren that he doesn't know. And with this answer Lauren becomes sure that it is Rent because only Rent can give such answers. She asks Rent, what are your future plans? Rent says that he still wants to remain an adventurer and one day he will definitely reach the Mitra level, but in this condition he cannot even go to the guild. Lauren says okay, I will bring a task for you, and if you cannot live anywhere else then you can stay here, but I will do all this for you for free. In return, you will have to help me in my research. She says this because she has a living monster that has undergone existential evolution and she can examine it from the front. Rent says, what do you want to do with me? Yes, Lauren says I just want some of your skin and flesh. The next day we see Rent is cleaning the house and Lauren comes back from the guild. Actually she had gone to sell the magic stones and slime liquids Rent had collected, due to which he gets a lot of money because the products that Rent sold were of very high quality. Then Rent goes to the town and seeing him everyone was reacting very strange. Then Rent goes to the blacksmith and he sells his sword to them. The lady who was there checks that vote and asks him whether he uses magic or spirit energy. Rent tells her that he uses both, he also uses divining. The lady is surprised to hear this and she says that you can use all three, this is very rare. Rent tells her to please keep this a secret and she agrees to this, then Rent also gives her some money and she gives it to her husband. She tells about the one whose name is Klopp. She says that Klopp works very hard and he may also need to talk to Rent at the time of making sword for Rent. Rent says about the sword, for this those people you can contact Lauren. On the other hand, we see Lauren who is studying about ghouls and she comes to know that ghouls are very strong physically, they like to eat meat of humans and animals, they are found mostly in dungeons. They go and are created from the dead body of a human being. Sometimes monsters turn humans into ghouls. In many cases, after becoming ghouls, humans lose their personality and emotions, but the case of Rent is quite special, but still before that the chances of being human like her are very slim, but Lauren still feels the same as before. Then she remembers a memory in which she was a little younger and accepts a quest from the guild which takes her to the Azal forest. Then a man comes to her who sends a guy with Lauren who was new to the guild and he could go with Lauren and gain some experience. Then when Lauren is in the forest and she finds some herbs. She also tells that she had got the title of Great Doctor at a very young age, but other people were not very happy with it, and after getting this title she also became a silver class adventurer. And then she left from there for her new discovery, and now she finds that herb in the forest which she takes out very slowly and carefully. Then she asks for a basket from the person accompanying her so that she can keep that plant, but then she sees that the adventurer with her has already plucked a lot of herbs. She also asks him how did he know about this, but then a goblin comes there and he was about to attack them, but Lauren she attacks him with her magic, due to which he dies on the spot. Then the adventurer gives water to Lauren and asks if this was your first fight. Lauren tells him that it is not so, but she is always surrounded by people and there is always someone nearby. Then the boy tells that everyone in the guild was very worried about Lauren, so he sent it with Lauren. Then Lauren asks him how do you know about the herbs, he tells that someone told him. If you want to be an adventurer then you should know about monsters and herbs. Then she asks him his name and it is nothing but Rent. Lauren asks him, can you teach me about herbs and how to fight? Rent agrees and they become friends. Lauren also realizes that there were always people around her who let's worry about him. In the next scene, we see Rent going to get his new sword. His new sword was not made yet, so he gets another sword for a short time. Here he also meets Klopp and they both shake hands. And then Rent takes his shit and goes away from there. After Rent leaves, the lady says that he is in big trouble, but why didn't he tell us? Aren't we trustworthy? So actually these people had recognized Rent. Klopp explains to the lady, it's not that Rent doesn't trust us, he just doesn't want to trouble others, so he doesn't tell us anything. In the next scene, Lauren is having dinner which Rent makes. She loves that food. But she asks Rent why he is not eating. Rent tells her that he is not hungry. Then Lauren tells him that she read about goals in her books, but Rent is very different from those goals. Then she asks Rent that what will you become after evolving? Rent says he doesn't know, but he wants to become as much like humans as possible, and for this he will have to go back to the dungeons and kill monsters. In the next scene we see the dungeons where an adventurer he is fighting with a slime, but he is losing badly and the slime is about to make his last attack on him, and then Rent kills that slime. Then the adventurer says thank you to Rent, but Rent has one of his eyes on him. He gets hurt, which makes Rent very angry, and he leaves from there. Rent gets angry because adventurers should always be active in their missions. We are responsible for his injuries and also for his death. He is responsible for himself. That adventurer comes running to Rent and says, take me to your party. He has just become an adventurer because he needs money. Actually he runs a restaurant, but at the moment he has 15 gold on him. Coin has a debt which he has to repay in a week, and that is why he had to become an adventurer, but no one is taking him in his party, and so he comes to the dungeons alone and says that he cannot take him in his party because he doesn't have time and is very busy, but then he tells Rent that if he leaves her alone then her life is in danger, and he tells her that you can join my party, and is very happy to hear this. Red wonders if he should trust this guy, but then he says he will help people no matter what. They are leaving and the adventurer says this is a dead end. Rent says you just follow me. Then Rent brings that adventurer to the secret dungeons where he died, then both of them explore the whole dungeons, and that other adventurer finds another way, and he says to tell us about this in the guild. I don't want it. Then he looks at the Rent and says, you are the one who found it. I have just followed you, so how can I take credit? The Rent says, I am not interested in it, you take the full credit, but come inside with me now. Both of them go inside and they find a very big empty room there. The adventurer goes inside without thinking, but Rent was able to see that there is a telep circle inside that room and the adventurer stands on top of it so that he gets teleported somewhere else. The friend thinks what should he do now? Should he run away like the others or help him? And then Rent also gets teleported through that circle, and then Rent finds the same adventurer who is on the ground. He was lying unconscious and a huge skeleton was standing in front of him, and the room where these people are in is the boss room. Then Rent also takes out his sword to fight.